Okay, so for the next part of the test, you need to make sure that you understand how to graph, how to find intercepts, how to determine the slope, and how to find values on the line or points on the line. So they could be in a different order when we're starting to look at all of these things here. So number one, we're going to take a look at this equation. So here's our equation, which is 2x minus 3y equals 6. And we want to graph that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to try to graph that. So the best way to do it is to rearrange this equation so that we have our slope, which we call m, and our y-intercept, which we call b. So we're going to look for those two different values once we move everything around. So to move them around, we're going to have our 2x minus 3y equals 6. We are going to isolate the y, so we want to get this all by itself. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move the x over. So 2x minus x, so it's adding over here, so I subtract and I subtract, so I get negative 3y equals 6 minus 2x. And then to continue to isolate, I'm going to divide everything by negative 3. And when I divide everything by negative 3, that becomes 1. So y equals 6 divided by negative 3 is negative 2. So 3 goes into 6 two times, and then one of those is negative, so therefore it's negative. Then in this case now, both of them are negative, so that's going to be a plus 2/3 x. So this gives me some information about the slope, gives me some information about the y-intercept. So notice here, here's my y-intercept, which is negative 2. So we're going to go over to the graph and we're going to plot that one. This tells me here, remember that when I have 2/3 is my slope, this tells me that I go up 2, and this tells me I go right 3. Now, if this was a negative, then I would go down and right. And so make sure that you know that when you're looking at these problems, there will be a problem that's going to be very similar to these on here. So this says go up 2. So 1, 2, and then to the right 3, 1, 2, 3. So this would be my other value. It happens to be my x-intercept where it crosses the x-axis. And then what we're going to do, of course, is draw a line between those two. So we draw a line, it's going to go through, and it's going to come out on the other side, and it's going to go through that way. So that's what our line will look like. That's how we graph things and how we figure it out. So I just wanted to show you on Desmos, if we take a look at Desmos, this is the exact same line here. Notice it goes through negative 2 and 3. And notice whenever we're dealing with these values, so 2x minus 3y. So this is why I like using this software, because you can get a good idea of what the function is supposed to look like. What we're going to do now is we're going to pick a couple of points. So I'm going to use the Desmos drawing because it's better, obviously, than mine. It's a straighter line. And so now we want to look at, okay, are there certain points? So now we're going to take a look at, is 0, 2 on that line. So remember that when we're dealing with points, it's always x comma y. X is always first. So 0, 2 says x is 0, y is 2. So that would be this point up here. That would, of course, be no. Is 2, 0 on the line. So that means we go over 2 on the x and up none. So that would be this point here. This would be point, whoops, this would be point A, this would be point B. So here's point A, here's point B. This would also be no because it's not directly on the line. C, we'll check to see if, in this case, 6, 2 is on the line. So that means I go over 6 on the x, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and y goes up 2, 1, 2. So that would be yes. And then we try point D. So we will say negative 2, 0. So remember, x always comes first. So negative 2 would be over here and 0. So this would be point D all the way over there. So, of course, that's a no. And then last but not least is point E, 0, negative 2. And so here's 0 in the x direction going this way. And negative 2 would be down 2. So that would be point E, and that would be yes. So that's how you would determine whether it's on the line or not. You would go and find all those points. X always comes first, Y always comes second.